Saskatchewan had its share of stories of grief and trauma in 2022. In February, 54 potential unmarked graves were found on the Kisikoos First Nation in eastern Saskatchewan with the help of ground-penetrating radar. Ted Cusons is a survivor and former chief. He says the findings back up what survivors in the community have always said about unmarked graves.
Our chief has recognized that healing is not a political event. The work that has been done within our community, it's not politics. It's a human issue.
In April, the search for 5-year-old Frank Young of the Red Earth Cree Nation started. He went missing on April 19th. He was found deceased in July, not far from where he was last seen. Later on in July, Dawn Walker, an author and longtime senior employee of the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, went missing from Saskatoon with her son. FSIN Chief Bobby Cameron pleaded for help.
With her communication skills, her personality and her attitude as always, it was a daily thing to hear from her or to give her a call. So everyone knew something was wrong when we didn't hear from her.
After 15 days, Walker and her son were found in Oregon, and she was charged in Canada and the U.S. with multiple offenses, from parental abduction to forging a passport to get into the States. Those cases are still before the courts. In early September, tragedy struck the James Smith Cree Nation and the nearby village of Weldon. On September 14th, 11 people died and 18 others were injured after a mass stabbing took place at the hands of 32-year-old Miles Sanderson. The community banded together to grieve. Daryl Burns' sister Gloria was one of the victims. He embraces the partner of Jamie and Sanderson.
Her husband was one of the accused. Her husband was accused of killing my sister. Our family is here to forgive. This woman shouldn't have to bear that kind of guilt and shame and responsibility.
Her husband, Damian Sanderson, and his brother Miles were the two most wanted men in Canada after the stabbings. But Damian's body was discovered on September 5th, a victim of his brother, according to the RCMP. In late September, Megan Gallagher's remains were found on the banks of the Saskatchewan River near St. Louis, 2 years after her disappearance from Saskatoon. 9 people are facing a bevy of charges, including murder, forcible confinement, and indignity to human remains in connection to her death. Those cases are making their way through the courts. Soon after the James Smith stabbings, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau came out to the community with a plan to heal from the attacks.
All members of our communities should have access to the type of support they need. Today, we're taking action to improve access to care for the people of James Smith Cree Nation. We'll invest $40 million over 6 years to build a new wellness centre here in the community and to repurpose the existing Saquatamo Lodge to address immediate needs.
He then pledged another $20 million for safety projects on First Nations across Canada. As part of reconciliation, an Alberta rancher and 2 Christian charities are giving bison back to First Nations people. Tear Fund Canada and the Loco-Koa Samoan Youth Ministry in Saskatchewan donated 24 to the Cody First Nation. The Pepikasis and Sagamay First Nation were also gifted the bison. Leanne Sanders, APTN National News, Saskatoon.